Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you. And from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather, love your enemies and do good to them, and lend, expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed together, shaken down and overflowing, will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. There's a total of 36 doctors of the Catholic Church. Super saints, you can call them. I mentioned St. Augustine last week. And those super saints, those doctors, they made major contributions to church theology, spirituality, pastoral ministry, and evangelization. One of them, St. Catherine of Siena, 1447 to 1480. The name Catherine means pure. She was the 25th child born to her mother. Only half of her siblings survived childbirth. And Catherine herself died young by our standards, 33 years old. And she was a member of the Third Order of Dominicans. Another doctor of the church, we had his feast day a couple days ago, St. Peter Damian, 1007 to 1072. He was a monk, a reformer, and during unstable years in the church, which included, believe it or not, the election of a man who took the name Pope Benedict IX. He was 22 years old, and he was the only 3-time pontiff in our Catholic Church. They kicked him out a couple times, and he kept on coming back. It was a turbulent time in the church. This is a quote about that Pope, Pope Benedict IX. He was vile and contemptible, murderous, and he had other nefarious deeds. Sanctity, thinking about that. What does it take to be a holy person? Discipline and practice. It's not pure grace. You heard it in the second reading. We're earthly. All of us are earthly. And we have to do our part with a little discipline and God's grace to be a little bit more spiritual. And I think about becoming spiritual is kind of like learning a musical instrument. You pick it up, you get started, get a few lessons, you gotta practice it, you gotta keep with it. And then once things start to connect and develop the skill, when you play your musical instrument, over the course of time for you, it feels good. It's good to the soul. If you play it, enjoy it. And if you become particularly competent at your musical instrument, notice how when you play it, other people enjoy hearing it. It's a good feeling. skill that you can use, carry with you to your lifetime. Old age is not a limitation, necessarily, with music. Similar with living the Christian life. Sanctity, becoming holy, by using these words that Jesus gave us today. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Give to the one who asks of you. Lend, expecting nothing back. That's the good music the Christian soul can give off, that does make us feel good as individuals and make those around us feel good. And also today in the gospel is this phrase from Jesus, which for some of us is a little bit challenging, a little bit. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Does anybody remember this game, Keep Away? Or another phrase for it is monkey in the middle. Were you ever the monkey in the middle? I think we all were with that game. It's that game with kids playing. Somebody's got to be in the center. You try to lob the ball past them, and if you're in the middle, you got to try to get it. That's that game right there. There was a time when Jesus was encircled. This is in the Gospels, Gospel of John. He was encircled, and a woman was thrown in his direction. Like a ball, she was thrown at him. A woman who was caught, as said in the Scripture, in the very act of adultery. He didn't dodge her, didn't dodge that ball. He caught her. And when challenged by the law of Moses, when Jesus was surrounded, when he was right in the middle, and the law of Moses said a woman caught in adultery had to be stoned. This is what he said. Sometimes you got to go back to other gospel passages to tell, what does he mean when he teaches us in this one part? What did he do when he was in action on that matter? This is what he taught us about judgment. Let the one who is without sin cast the first stone. He said that to everybody surrounding him. And then, after everybody left and walked away, Jesus' parting words for that woman was this: I do not condemn you. Go and sin no more. That was his form of judgment. I do not condemn you, but as you leave, sin no more. We get a feeling of dissonance or something vaguely unsettling when people tell us not to judge. It's like we hear two voices. The voice of somebody who's telling us not to judge, who knows what their situation is, and the voice having to do with Jesus and our Christian faith. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of us do not know what it means. And that's why we feel like we're in the middle or cornered when we get told not to judge. And so I think about it, we are like the monkey in the middle. Jesus, when he was in the circle, people yelled at him, judge. That was oftentimes how he was cornered. We want to see how you judge somebody. And he would do it. And for us, we get surrounded. But the phrase is, especially for those of us who take our Catholic Christian faith serious, we feel it sharply. Do not judge. And we don't know what to do with that exactly. And I think it's especially the case these days with our young people. And a lot of the voice of do not judge comes from some well-meaning, but not always well-meaning teachers. From K through 12 school, because it's part of their training. And even in the universities. Sometimes it's really bad in the universities. What they watch and see. Do not judge. That's how our kids are being taught. You encourage your kids to compete well in sports. And I heard we had some local success last night. You love it when they compete well in sports. Nothing wrong with them. Compete well in academics. Have you given them the encouragement to compete well and to practice morally, using the faith that they have, to compete well in that game? Let me ask, Don't you think that as God gave kids, especially any of us, gifts, physical gifts, intellectual gifts, did or did not Jesus give us capabilities through his words to compete morally out there? Or does Jesus like to have us a bunch of surrendering, soft ones in that kind of competition, moral competition? What do you think? Do you see this? How the current no bullying school campaign, there's a lot of good to that. But how a number of our young ones will be cornered and will be surrounded to be silent about their traditional Catholic and family-based moral convictions and bullied into silence. You see how that's part of the bullying campaign, no bullying campaign? Keeping some of our Catholic kids quiet. In the distance, we do hear the voice of Jesus that we heard in the gospel today. Do not judge. How are you going to use those words? Are you going to turn those words and use them as a confirmation to the voices that surround us, to tell us to not have a moral position on anything? How are you going to use Jesus' words on that subject when we're surrounded and cornered? Back to those two doctors in the church. They didn't ask for it, but like anybody who takes their faith serious, they're going to be in the middle of a tight situation. Catherine was in the middle of the Avignon papacy time period. Siena is almost literally in the middle between Rome and Avignon, France. And because people had a conviction that this is a holy woman, even though she was a young woman, they sent her to confront the Pope. Pope Gregory XI. Here are Catherine's words. And if you want to believe that God can work through a person, plants words in the soul to speak to whomever needs to hear it, well, I think she's proof for us. Here's what she said to the Pope. To the glory of Almighty God, I am bound to say that I smelt the stink of the sins which flourish in your papal courts while I was at my home. And then she said to him, return to Rome. You're the Pope of Rome. Fulfill your vow. Then there's St. Peter Damian. Again, we just had this feast a few days ago. The same day the church began this summit in Rome that's been on the news, unfortunately, quite a bit. St. Peter Damian, in a letter to Pope Leo IX, a letter that's now known as the Book of Gomorrah, demanded the Pope to take action, to confront and remove sodomy. He called it the cancer of the sodomitic impurity creeping through the clerical order. It will eat our church alive. Nobody's perfect, but that is not allowable in this church. With the clerical ranks, get rid of it. That's what he said 1,000 years ago to the Pope. Christianity is not a religion of surrender. Offer your other cheek, presume staying in the fight. The basics of Catholic do not judges. No rash judgment, no detraction, no calumny. We're not the judge of anybody's ultimate faith. That's the don't part. Don't judge. And we Catholics will happily not judge anyone. Will happily not judge anyone.